Alrighty, well, welcome to your 2023 Digital Marketing Plan webinar. I'm so excited to have you here today. We're going to cover a lot of ground and really walk away here today with some great stuff. So let's jump right in and I'll share with you sort of the plan for this workshop. So first and foremost, we're going to set clear goals and targets for the year. We're going to realign our KPIs and tracking to achieve those outcomes. We're going to also map out your plan for accomplishment and how to actually achieve those goals that we define here today. And that includes how to budget for it, the channels that we're going to use, and also being aware and keying into the important trends that are going on in digital marketing in 2023. And then all of this together is really going to set you up for massive success in the year 2023 and beyond. So I'm so excited. And before we jump completely in, I just want to go over some simple housekeeping rules, if you will. I have blocked on my calendar this slot dedicated just for you guys. And if you would return the favor by turning off your cell phones, closing out of Facebook and really keying in on this session, I really think if we spend the next 60 or so minutes together, you will walk away here with an action plan that will absolutely help you achieve better results in 2023. So now that that's out of the way, who am I and why should you listen to me? Well, I am Alex and I'm the owner of HVAC-Marketers. As the name would suggest, we specialize in the HVAC industry, and this is all we do, right? So we partner with business owners like HVAC business owners like yourselves day in and day out to achieve these goals, help them achieve their goals and really win online. Truly, it's what we do. So with that, let's jump right into the workshop itself. And I'm going to share with you some of the key tricks of the trade that our clients have found great success with and that I will share with you today. So to kick things off, let's make sure that you've downloaded the workbook. If you would go to www.hvac-marketers.com/workbook, you'll be able to download that there and you can follow along throughout today's session in that workbook, as we start to knock some of these things out. I'll give you just a moment looks like some people are doing that now. So I'll give you just a moment to get that up and ready to go, and then we'll dive in. All righty, how's everyone doing? We're good? All right, great. Let's jump in then. And the place where I think we always need to remember to begin is why. So we always want to begin and lead everything with why. So let me just talk a little bit about why we're doing this session today and why we're setting up your 2023 plan. Well, as you know, when it comes to online marketing in the HVAC space, there are so many options, different things that you can invest in that it's sometimes unclear where you should spend your budget. You've got SEO, Google Ads, website, social postings, so on and so forth. It can be really hard to know what you should be doing and in what order. Also, I find that most HVAC companies make a major investment in online marketing and oftentimes don't really have much to show for it. And the reason that I see for that failure is that the businesses lack a clear plan and path forward. And that results in overspending on marketing and in many cases, even worse, underspending and underperforming throughout the year, not hitting those revenue goals. So really what I see as the opportunity is to put together today and leave here with a clear plan with goals, targets, and KPIs that will help generate enough leads to hit your targets and keep your trucks running. And even better, have a great return on your investment. So, any great successful marketing campaign, the idea is when you give $1 and you're getting 5 in return is really the idea. So we want to make that a reality for you today by giving you some direction here. That will ultimately result in your success, maximizing your lead flow and helping you hit your sales goals for 2023. So with that, let's jump right in and start with our goal setting section. So one thing about goals is, actually, I love this quote from Brian Tracy. So success is goals, all else is commentary. And this is something that's always really stuck with me. We find ourselves, myself included, day in and day out, really thinking in the minutia. And in your case, that may be, trying to figure out what GPS you want to run in your trucks, just for example. But an example like that isn't really something that's moving the needle forward. Well, which is why I really love this quote by Brian Tracy, where those goals really drive our success. In fact, without having a goal, oftentimes we can feel like this sailboat out at sea, where there's no wind and you're relying on the currents. Wherever they may take you is where you'll go, and you really have no clear sense of direction. Whereas when you have a goal and your whole team is aligned to it, you can really create your own wind. And I mentioned having your whole team on board because that's just as crucial as having, start with yourself, define that plan, and get the whole team on board so that we all know what direction we're heading. And truly, you can create your own wind by doing that. And just to add to that, there's a great study by Harvard that really looks at goal setting. And what they did was they interviewed almost 2,000 graduate students, and of those, 84% had no specific goals in mind. 13% had goals, but they were not written down, and only 3% had clear written down goals and had plans to accomplish them. And the results are pretty amazing. Actually, so the 13% of the class who had goals were earning on average twice as much as the 84% who had no goals. But what's really the takeaway from this whole study is the 3% that had clear goals that were also written down, they made 10 times as much as the other 97% put together. So really just goes to show the importance of setting goals, but also having them written down. And so today we're going to rely on this goal setting framework of getting the goals written down, as I mentioned, and starting with a year goal and then backing into quarterly and monthly goals. And another important piece to mention here is that with successful goals, it's key to have built-in designated points where we're reflecting on our goals and reevaluating as needed. So the first of the year is a very natural reset point, but I encourage you quarterly, even monthly, to go in and revisit your goals and see how you're tracking towards them and if they need any adjusting. That way the goal continues to live on. So let's jump into our goals for 2023. So what is your current revenue target? Many of us know that. We have an idea in our head. We want to be at 1.5 million, 3.5 million, 6 million, whatever it is. Define what that revenue target is. And then we want to back into how much does that mean we need revenue-wise each month to achieve that. And then furthermore, how many calls will be required in order to achieve that monthly number. And then you'll see this will all come together in the workbook here in a moment, but what is your average transaction value? So getting really granular with the goals, and instead of just relying on that highest level yearly revenue goal, really let's drill down into how many calls and leads are going to be required for that and to hit that on a monthly basis. So for an example, just quickly, if your goal is to hit 1.5 million this year in revenue, that works out to 125,000 of revenue per month. And if we say that the average transaction value is $405, then that's going to require 308 leads per month in order to hit that goal. So you can see, and we know when you know exactly how many calls you need per month, it really makes that larger goal of 1.5 million in this case more attainable. So that's a good start. So we know we need 308 jobs per month. But let's take it a step further. So now I want to ask you, what is your average conversion rate from caller to booked call? And that's going to really inform truly how many calls you need. So let's use that as a jumping off point to jump into the workbook. Uh, to make this super easy for you, I have created a goal setting calculator that we're going to work through right now and get your 2023 goals dialed in. Now, I don't want this just to be a session where I'm talking on and leave here and don't have any action items and real progress. I really want this to be a working session where you leave here with real numbers and a real direction forward. So if you would open up this calculator and let's work through this together. So I will get it opened up here. And okay. So when you go to HVAC-Marketers.com/workbook, you'll see the goal setting calculator here. It's also linked in the workbook, as I mentioned. So come in here and you'll click make a copy. And then we will be right here. So this is a really handy and powerful tool that we're going to use together right now. So I was asking some questions earlier about some of your goals, and here's where you get the chance to really put those into action. So let's use the example from earlier, and you can come in here in 8B and just enter in your goal here. Say it's 1.5 million. So this is going to go ahead and calculate what your monthly revenue target should be, 125,000. And then on the last slide, I referenced the average ticket value. So this is a blanket average of all of your tickets and what the value is. So I know this is a rough number, but you should have an idea of what that number is. And I've seen it as low as maybe in the 400s and as high as in the thousands. So it really is going to depend on your shop and your service area and where you're positioned in the market. So go ahead and enter that. Let's say it's $850. So what this spits out then is you'll need 147 service calls in order to hit your monthly goal. So that gives us that concrete number. So now into step 2, which is really thinking about our conversion rates. So when techs are out in the field, how many of those conversions take place, or over the phone? Of all the leads you have, how many of those are actually converting into those 850 average dollar jobs? So you can come in here and put whatever you think is an appropriate number. You put 30%. If that was the case, you'd need almost 500 calls per month to hit your monthly target. Let's say this was instead 60%, 240 calls. So as we progress through here, this last step here really then gives you an idea of what you should allocate in terms of marketing budget to hit those goals, or to hit this goal that you have. So what it's asking here is the average cost per generated lead. So again, this will vary quite a lot from service area to service area. To give you an idea, we've put together just some averages. So in the HVAC space, if you look at pay-per-click, Google local service ads, and then we'll throw out the repeat and referral, but if we want to just average these, we'll say it's $45. So let's go back here, and that could be way low for what you've experienced. It could be a bit high, but we'll go ahead and throw $45 in, and then that tells us in order to achieve our goal, we're going to need to budget $11,029 on average per month in order to hit 1.5 million over the year 2023. So hope you guys are filling this out as we go along. Again, this is a really powerful tool to give you real clear direction forward and help you plan for what activities need to happen and how much you need to budget in order to hit your annual revenue goal. And you'll see down here, I have a lot of sheets that we've created for you, and we're not going to go through all of those today. But I do want to quickly look at the budget allocations sheet. So this is something you can take back with your team and really dive into the weeds on exactly where you should budget your money throughout the year on different marketing efforts. So let's keep with the example. We have the goal of 1.5 million annual over this current year. That was pulled in from the first sheet. Now what you can do is under marketing budget percent, I want you to put in the percent that you are planning on allocating towards your marketing. And this is percent of revenue. And you'll see we put a little note in here as kind of a reminder of what we've seen. 6% is a good rule of thumb. And basically for HVAC shops that are really looking to push the growth, we're seeing 10 to 12% allocated to marketing. And then to just kind of stay status quo, no real growth, but no shrinkage, 3% would be a conservative number. So let's put in 10% here. That gives us $150,000 throughout the year to budget towards marketing. And of course, we break that out. Monthly gives you $12,500. And what's really powerful about this sheet, of course, we've got each month broken out, and not only online marketing, but offline marketing and repeat business as well budgeted in. I certainly am not a believer that online is the silver bullet for your HVAC shop. I think it should take up the vast majority of your budget, but continuing to invest in those offline marketing efforts as well, be that billboards or local networking, things like that, and then allocating a certain percent to repeat business. So sending those tchotchkes and things like that to your existing database of clients. Those are all good plays. So you'll see here that this calculator really helps map out where and when you should be spending your money in terms of marketing budget. I want to keep us moving through this and not get too into the minutia here, but I encourage you, go through this entire spreadsheet with your team. You'll see we've got some other goodies in here. So like a marketing calendar for the HVAC space, and this just gives you some ideas throughout the year that what you can use for your various marketing campaigns. And we've got that for plumbing and electrical as well. Of course, many of you have those services as well. We've also got some different specials that you can look into, and feel free to really swipe and deploy any of these that you see fit and run with them. We want to see you guys really succeed this year. So we have put this together for you. So let's jump back over to presentation here. Oops. There we go. All righty. Perfect. So at this point, I really want you all to be laser clear on your goals. If you were following along through that calculator there, you should know what your revenue goal is. You should know exactly how much revenue you need to make per month, and how many jobs are required for that, and how many calls in total you need to achieve that. So I want you to be really clear on exactly how many leads you need to generate each month to make that a reality. So hopefully that's been really powerful for you. That's about all that we have time for the goals section today. Like I said, we've got a lot of good stuff that I want to be able to hit. Take all that back with your team and really go through it. And if you'd like some help from us, of course, we're happy to do that activity with you and really make sure that your goals are clearly defined. So let's next jump into kind of the fundamentals. I think that the start of the year is a great opportunity to reset on the fundamentals, and by doing that, really ratchet up our results. So something that's important to remember is if I can know exactly who the target audience is, figure out where they're hanging out, and craft a message for them specifically, that's a really powerful marketing machine. And that's what we're going to do here today. So, really update your marketing message. So, I want to ask you, who is your ideal customer? Really give this some thought. And I know I've done a fair amount of talking, so I want to give each and every one of you the opportunity to go in here and really list out for all these sections, what is your ideal customer avatar? So that includes pains and frustrations, fears and implications, goals and desires, and dreams and aspirations. So if you would go into the workbook, there's a section in there dedicated to this, and I want to spend, let's see, I'll give you guys 2 minutes to complete this, and I just want you to list at least, let's say, 2 per section. So I'll give you 2 minutes to do that. You guys making some headway? Awesome, awesome. We'll do about 1 more minute, so just make sure you've got at least 1 per section. This is great work, you guys. All righty. Hey, this is awesome. I appreciate you guys playing all out. Again, I want everyone to leave here today with some really actionable items and key takeaways. So this is excellent that you're filling all this out. Now that you have that, I'm going to share some of what we've seen in terms of ideal customer avatar. And again, feel free, you have permission to steal this, swipe and deploy. I really want, the better we can know the customer, the better. So here is what we're finding. So in terms of demographics, you have a homeowner that's at least 35 years old, typically female, occasionally male, of course, married with 2 to 3 kids, and the decision maker is head of the household, annual income's over 65,000, family oriented, go on and on. You can really see the minutia that we get into here. They're not typically handy. They like gardening, crafting, and arts. Live in the suburbs. Upper middle class, and they really take an interest in their community. Some of their pains and frustrations, the obvious being HVAC's not working. I'm sure many of you wrote that down. That's great. They can't get an HVAC company on the phone or to return their call. They're really needing to just get the HVAC issue resolved, but they're too busy to really deal with it. Between 2 to 3 kids and sports, school, community involvement, there's a lot going on. They're too busy to deal with it, and they're worried that the situation at the house could be unhealthy for the family. So thinking, kids with asthma and mold and air quality should be coming to mind. So that's some inspiration around demographics and pain frustrations. Now, in terms of fears and implications, they're afraid of being ripped off or overcharged. They don't want to pay too much for something they could have gotten elsewhere. They don't want to have their home damaged by faulty workmanship, and they don't want to have to wait around for the tech to arrive at the home. May cause a disaster in the house in certain cases, and that's a good encapsulation of what we're seeing for fears and implications. And then goals and desires. They want to get the air fixed. They want to put the issue behind them. They put a lot of time and energy into keeping the house kept well, and in this theme, they want to keep the house well. They want to take care of their family. They want more income, money, and wealth. They want to live in a nicer, more luxurious house. So keying into those more premium experiences, premium buyer kind of mindset. Drive a nicer car. So you can go through this with your team. That's really some of what we're seeing. And the whole point here, it may sound basic, it may seem, wow, going into a lot of detail for kind of that HVAC buying decision, which is rather short, but this is really how you take your marketing to the next level. And just to kind of summarize, we like this line here. So if you can see Joe Jones through Joe Jones's eyes, then you can sell what Joe Jones buys. That's really the idea here, is really selling and marketing through the perspective of your ideal customer. So with that really covers sort of the message. So the what, or sorry, rather that really covers the market, kind of who we're going after. We've really identified that customer persona, ideal avatar. So now let's look at crafting your message. So really the what. And I'm going to give you another minute or two. I want you to fill out a couple of these lines here live on the session. So 2 questions for you. Why would someone choose to do business with you versus the competition? And what benefits do you offer that your target customer avatar will resonate? So really think back to what you put down in the last section about your avatar. Look through that lens and answer these questions, and I'll give you about 2 minutes to do so. I want you to really try to challenge yourself to go beyond kind of the normal. We have certified techs, or we're top #1 rated. Really think about it through the lens of that avatar that we just defined. About when you guys are done, you've completed some of these, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat. It's just to let me know that you're tracking with me and you've completed this, and then I'll move on to sharing some of what works that we've seen work. So just to give you maybe 20 more seconds. All right. Great work, guys. I really appreciate you making this a working session and really getting it done here. So let's jump over here. Like I said, I want to share some examples of messaging that works, that really speaks to the avatar that I shared earlier. So something along the lines of same-day service, emergency services, or 24-hour service, even better, on-time service. you see how all those are really speaking to that avatar. These get even better, I think. So number 2, so straightforward pricing, upfront pricing, or satisfaction guaranteed. Those guarantees are really important. You can think of it as a risk reversal for your potential customers. The ones that fear being ripped off or they fear poor workmanship. By putting guarantees in, I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, have guarantees. Using that in your messaging really communicates a lot of risk reversal. And it helps your prospective customer really jump into action and give you a chance for their business. So that's why this messaging is really key. And then lastly, trustworthy technicians or trusted technicians. We'll jump in a bit about kind of tying into social proof and things like that. But that's just some example of messaging that works. Just a couple more. Fast same-day service, money-saving offers, 24 hours with no overtime charges, great service guaranteed. Again, with that guarantee in the messaging is really critical. So I want you now to have captured your market, that who, the message, sort of the what, and then lastly, I want to talk about media, which is how. How are we actually reaching that target avatar with that crafted message for them? So that brings us into section 3 here, which is making sure your hub converts. And what I mean by that and how this ties into media is your website really is your marketing hub. That's how, at the end of the day, it's usually the end of the road for all of your other marketing efforts. We're sending folks to the website and we're attempting to get them into action to call or submit a form to your business. So that's why it's really critical to make sure that your website is in fact set up to convert visitors into callers. So I've highlighted a few things on here in terms of conversion optimization. And I want you to make sure that you have these on your site. So you'll see, social proof, having that obvious, links to the social media. That way, your prospective customers can see, that you're posting regularly and that you have happy customers engaging with that content. That's really critical. Go back to the customer avatar of that community-focused, mother of 2 to 3, having a consistent social presence and highlighting that on your website can certainly help in terms of conversion. Also here, clear one-click navigation. So making sure to remove all friction in place of your website visitor navigating your site. You want that to be as easy as possible. Also having large and clear calls to action. So not only having your phone number there, highly visible and clickable, by the way. Be sure that all of your phone numbers are in fact click to call. But also you want to be able to have your schedule a service button or your form submission button readily available as well. We'll speak to this in trends in a bit, but we're seeing more and more customers every year that are preferring to use text instead of voice in order to talk with you, the business. So, and then lastly, customer reviews are critical. They're one of the most important pieces of the buying decision. So making sure that you are highlighting your Google reviews as social proof on the website is really critical. And what we're finding is for our clients that we've really been able to implement a lot of these clear conversion elements onto their site, the results speak for themselves. So basically, here's an example of a client where in 1 month they're receiving 461 calls through the website at an investment of $1,150 a month. That results in average cost per lead of only $2.49. So what you can see is by having a website that converts and really increases the total number of leads coming through, your average cost per lead just falls drastically. So this is really to show how critical it is to have your website set up for conversion. And I want to keep things rolling, so we won't go too in depth here. Here's just a fuller list of some of the website conversion elements that you should absolutely make sure are in place. Oops. There we go. That you should absolutely make sure are in place. And at the end of the presentation, I'll share with you a checklist that includes a lot of this. So this can be homework for you and your team to go back. Of course, we're also happy to work through this with you and make sure that you've got all this in place, or at least be aware of where there's opportunity to increase conversion. So I really today want to challenge you to pull up your website and see if you have these conversion elements in place, because again, your website being that marketing hub, you need to make sure that it's converting. So I want to take this a step further and really talk about the biggest marketing issue facing all home service based companies, and that is unconverted leads. So we've talked a lot about getting more leads in. Now I want to talk about unconverted leads. So here's the problem: 50 to 60% of all inbound leads leave unconverted, and 90+% of web forms fail to convert, which is a staggering number. So you can think you really have to generate a lot of leads if this high of a percent are not converting. And here's the reason for those numbers. So leads that are not followed up within 15 minutes go cold. And the average customer must be followed up with 5 to 7 times before booking. I'm sure that you guys experience this, in your own shops, really having to follow up on folks, and by doing that, getting a higher percent to convert. But I think many times we fall short of just exactly how many follow-ups are required. And lastly, today's customers prefer to interact via text message versus traditional phone call or email. So here's really the opportunity, the solution for you guys is take advantage of leveraging marketing automation, and that way you can follow up on the web forms within 2 minutes of submission via phone, email, and text. So you can actually implement a system that takes care of that follow-up for you and is able to follow up 5 to 7 times in an automated fashion. That way leads aren't slipping through the cracks and not being followed up on. And then automate the follow-up so that every prospect is touched 5+ times by two-way text, as I just mentioned. So just having that automated system just makes it so much easier on your staff. That way that they're not bogged down and doing all of this follow-up manually. But once you do that, really it's simple math. So if you think of two examples, or two scenarios rather, both with 100 leads, and for the first one, there's no follow-up done. So because of that, the conversion rate is only 30%. If your average ticket is $650, then out of those 100 leads, you're only able to squeeze $19,500 worth of revenue. Whereas the second scenario, if you have automated follow-up in place and are able to increase that conversion rate to 70%, all of a sudden you've generated over $45,000 of revenue from the same exact leads, which means every lead that you generate becomes more valuable. So I really want to encourage you this year, let's implement this in your business. Start by implementing an automation system for your leads so that they're being followed up with 5 to 7 times. And you are seeing that double or more efficiency in your leads, then conversion rates are going higher. I think that would be very key for the year 2023 in helping you achieve those goals that we set at the beginning. So again, I've done more talking, more kind of sharing ideas. I want to give you guys a moment to really cement what you've just learned. So I find for me, when I learn something, I hear it and then I need to do it immediately. So I want you guys to take the next minute or so and write down 3 conversion elements that you will implement on your website this year. And like I said, I'll give you about a minute to do that. Let me get some music going for you. All right, great work, guys. Locking in that knowledge. Like I said, I want to make sure that we not only learn today, but have clear steps that we plan to implement to really ratchet up our marketing, really ratchet up your marketing in 2023. So I want to pause here and reflect on what our biggest takeaways are so far. So, number one, having clear line of sight to how many leads you need to generate month over month. Number two, making sure that your hub is converting to maximize your investment in all of your marketing efforts. And then also taking it to the next level by automating follow up with your leads. So having that system in place to automatically follow up with your leads, therefore increasing the conversion rate there. All really key strategies. So now that we have that in place, let's talk in more detail about knowing and tracking your key performance indicators. So now that you've developed your goal around how many calls you need to be getting in order to hit your goal, it's crucial throughout this year that you have a system in place to really track those leads and know where they come from. So I love the saying, what we measure improves. And that's just yet another reason to have a really robust but straightforward dashboard where, again, you're seeing how many leads you're getting, where they're coming from, how much they're costing. So, I think at a minimum, you need to have call tracking in place. So that way you not only know where your leads are coming from, but you can monitor the quality of those leads. And then again, the cost per lead is really critical as you go back to that goal setting calculator and are figuring out how much you need a budget in order to hit your goals. You can back into that by knowing how much it's costing you, in reality per lead that you're getting. So far, we've set clear goals and targets for 2023. We have clarity around market, message, and media. You've made sure that your website is optimized for conversion, or at least you have an idea of where there is opportunity. And then you also have more of an idea of a simple KPI tracking dashboard that you monitor month over month to make sure that you're tracking towards your goals. So with all the planning in place that we've talked about so far, I want to talk a little bit about some of the key trends that we're expecting for this calendar year. So as I'm sure you all know, Google local service ads have been really big over the last couple of years in the home services space, and we see that trend continuing. Google's made big investments into this service, and it's been very successful for many of our clients and many HVAC companies across the nation, and we don't see that trend slowing. As I was alluding to earlier on the second one, though, we're going to continue to see a shift from phone conversations to message conversations. So SMS text, really, we're seeing more customers moving that direction and wanting to interact that way as opposed to calling. And also, we're seeing that the HVAC companies that are really crushing it and doing the best, really having an all-in perspective when it comes to online marketing. So really showing up not only in SEO, but pay-per-click ads as well, local service ads, having a consistent social media presence. Again, just going all in and really playing all out in the online space is really what it's taking to see exponential success in the HVAC industry. So let's build your 2023 plan. And speaking of being all in, this is really what we envision for an all-in strategy for your HVAC business. So you'll see here that includes SEO, which means a website that converts, and month in, month out, efforts towards SEO and improving your ranking results. That's making an investment in the paid ad space. So having an effective Google pay-per-click campaign, as well as Google retargeting, Facebook retargeting. Now it's making sure that all of your online directories are cleaned up and consistently monitored. Number 5, having repeat and referral plays in place. So think social media and having a constant and continuous presence there. Now, also in some cases, it's having pay per lead that you can turn on at a moment's notice. Making sure that you're hitting your total number of leads required through the month to hit your goal. And then social media advertising, putting dollars into Facebook and really targeting that custom customer avatar. And then lastly, having a referral program in place. So allocating some of that, offline budget for referral programs and encouraging that behavior from your existing customers. So I wanted to share with you a case study from a client of ours where we implemented this system and really saw a lot of growth over just the course of less than a year. So our online strategy was what we just showed, improving the website so that it's built to convert, doing proactive SEO that works, optimizing for Google Map and online reviews, implementing a strategic PPC campaign, having a consistent social presence, and then, of course, tying back to all the goals that we've outlined, having a precise system for tracking and measuring key performance indicators. So I want to show you our client here. They're based in Tampa, Florida, and they're a full-service HVAC shop. And basically, with putting this system in place, they've attained page 1 ranking for most all of their important keywords. They're generating 169 leads online, and the cost per lead is under $30 per lead in an extraordinarily competitive market in Tampa. And in less than a year, they've seen a 97% increase in calls coming from Google and more than double, 212% increase in calls coming from their Google Ads campaign with about the same budget. So pretty incredible results there. And again, that's just from implementing what we know works, implementing the system and sticking to it, and really tying all that back to the business's original goals. So this is what can happen when you get the fundamentals right and you really have that all-in mindset when it comes to getting online marketing done right. So with that in mind, I want to help you build your custom plan. So I alluded to this earlier. We have a checklist available. There's a version of this on the workbook itself. And there's also a little prettier downloadable version on our website. If you go HVACmarketers.com/checklist, you can download that and you can take that back to your team and go through it and implement a lot of those strategies. Also, we'd love to work with you to go over this checklist and really help you, to build your plan and have a great strategy coming into this new year. So by now, I hope that you have identified a few items where there is clear room for improvement. I'd say, if not, I've definitely let you down in this little session, but I'm hoping and confident that everyone should have at least one, if not more, action items as to how to really ratchet up your strategy and ratchet up your results throughout this year. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, all of this, I truly believe, are strategies that you can take back to your team, to your current marketing agency, and implement. Or if you're interested, we can also get together and chat about creating this custom plan, or creating a custom plan for you based on your business goals that you've defined, and really help you take it to the next level. So with that, I just want to lock it in one last time and just jot down quickly. We won't take much time here, but what are kind of 3 key marketing initiatives that you plan to implement this year to hit your goals? They say you can't do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. So what's something different that you're going to implement this year to help you achieve those results, that you put on the goals section earlier this year? I'll give you just about 20 seconds to put that in there. All right, excellent. Just drop a 1 in the chat when you've got it, at least one item in there, so I can know how everyone's tracking. All right, excellent. Great work, guys. We're getting towards the end here. So just to recap what we've covered, man, we've covered a lot of ground today, and I appreciate you guys hanging here strong with me till the end. So, we've been able to set your goals for 2023 and know exactly how many leads you need to hit those targets. And we talked about the 3 fundamentals of marketing success. We discussed how to optimize your website for conversion in 2023 and beyond. We also talked about the big picture of all the online marketing channels you should be tapping into to maximize your lead flow online. We chatted about the latest trends that you really need to keep a close eye on in 2023. And lastly, developed a custom action plan based on where you are now and what you need to do. So thank you guys again for hanging with me until the very end. As a little reward, feel free to go ahead and visit HVAC-Marketers.com/schedule. We'd love to set up time and talk with you about your 2023 internet marketing plan and help you crush it in 2023. I know that you can, and with these fundamental but powerful strategies, you can absolutely achieve your goals in this calendar year. So thanks again, and I look forward to chatting with you in the future. Take care, guys.